more of Washington State. That is a 500-foot tall hill or so. And we don't call those mountains here. We call them hills. Even when the cows look this small at the bottom. Why would anybody settle out here? I don't know. Would have been a hard life. Would have been a hard life. But the Nez Perce Indians seem to dig it. Native Americans. Slot canyons and rivers. The Yakima, Walla Walla, the Snake, Columbia. They all come here. Come through this valley, this area. And oh, it looks like we're coming up to a burn site here. It's just, most people don't think of this when they see Washington. I don't think of Washington being this way, but it really predominantly. Would you say there are more of the states like this than not? Probably. Yeah, probably. Actually, probably a good amount more. Wow, this is quite the hill here. Alright everybody, now we're almost at our destination. You know what? We are at our destination. We are in the Great Basin. We are up at the corner of the Great Basin where the Nez Perce natives once roamed, and the Crow also crossed paths. So this area and to the north, the Chinook jargon was spoken by a bunch of tribes. So this area is called Walla Walla. We're just rolling into town, and those are the Blue Mountains in the distance. We're still in Washington State technically, but Oregon is, I don't know, 5 miles away? 6 miles away, something like that. Pendleton's very close, where they have the big roundup rodeo. So, the more you know. And this is Walla Walla that we are entering, famous for the Whitman Mission and Massacre, as well as Whitman High School. Or I mean, college, not high school. Alright, entering Walla Walla. Well, welcome to the secret history living in your aquarium. Today we are in beautiful Walla Walla, Washington, the southwest corner. A town with probably around 30,000 people in the town right now. And we're at a store known as City Zoo Pet Center. They've got all sorts of pets here, but we're going to be looking at their fish. Now, this is our far southeast corner of the state, and because of that, prices on things are a little more, and it is definitely the end of the line kind of on the highways out here. So it's cool that there's even a pet store out here for this area other than one of the big box chains for cats and dogs. But we have permission to go inside. It's been family owned since 1974, and a new family just took it over literally 4 weeks ago, and they're going to be starting to redo some things. So looks like here we got some maybe water hyacinth or something like that, and we're going to take a look. We're going to go inside and we are going to check out the fish.
And so it's just ridiculous. Yeah. There's just no way we can do that.
They've got lots of medicines and foods here. And then all the herp and reptile stuff here. Lots of rapashi and the like here. You know, as far as prices, it's going to be a little more than in the city, but it's impressive that they have what they have. We've got various heaters, a lot of plastic plants, and I'll have to ask them, but I'm guessing the water is harder out here because lots of plastic plants and slate and other big stone rocks. Not a ton of aquascaping style rocks. And then they've got the glow stuff that the kids all like. Here they've got areas for bettas. And they're growing their own crypts, so they're only 99 cents to $1, which is pretty impressive, I think. And in here, looks like we've got some red blood dwarf gouramis, as they're marked, or blood red. I don't. Must be a variant. And then here we've got some pink convict cichlids, a big old colony of them. They're $3.99 each. And then up here, it's kind of like an assorted cichlid tank. Very cool. And angel tanks, very cool. Smaller angels over here. Looks like they're ranging from $9.99 to maybe $15.99. And on the bigger angels, it looks like $39 maybe is the most that they're asking. $14.99 on most of the angels. I think they're out of the ones that were that. But then they've got driftwood, $39.99 for the big old pieces of driftwood. More Mabuna and bumblebee cichlids over in this tank. So you can see it's kind of a hodgepodge of various tanks here that are kind of almost like you'd see in a fish room at someone's house, which is kind of cool. This is an old Anubias plant, you can tell here. You got a big old Plecostomus over here, big one hidden behind that rock, or the wood there, really large. And then up here it looks like we've got the Aquarium brand lights and things like that. It's definitely got to be marked a little bit differently than in the city price wise. For the Corys, $6.99. I've seen prices going up in general all over the hobby. Kabamba cuttings though, 75 cents each. So looks like the things they do create and take care of in here, they have for a really good deal, which is neat. We're going to talk to the new owner in a bit, but it's kind of like, it looks like they've got a lot of 20 longs, a lot of 20 gallons, some 29s, and then back over in the very back they've got some 10s. And like here we've got honey gouramis and glow light fish together. We've got the mystery snails. We've got up here Buenos Aires tetras, big old boys. And what's interesting is it looks like they're running corner sponge filters in some, box filters in others, a canister filter that I'm curious about in there. Maybe he's just charging it for substrate, or for filter media being ready. And then we've got some interesting of these purple parrot cichlids and blood red parrot cichlids here, and Denison barbs, roseline sharks, neon, and the Malaysian trumpet snails. Then we've got like this Mopani driftwood's only $29.99. That's a big old chunk. So some things are actually less and some things are more. Locally sourced bristle noses are $10, and the babies, quote unquote, are actually fairly decent size. So 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches. Looks like they've got maybe a betta tank where looks like they probably do a lot of breeding between here and probably the owners as a hobby and just people in the place in general. But definitely filtration styles that you don't see that often. You've got the big air stones, diffusers. They do have heaters in here, so they're keeping it AC, which is interesting because it gets cold here in the winter, but it's actually very hot here in the summer, like up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, so peacock gudgeons, $10.99 or $9.99. That's a good deal. Somebody is breeding, that's cool, locally sourced hillstream loaches. We'll have to ask about that. That's really cool. And Pandagar is $21.99. So locally sourced. But if that's really going to the local source, then that's a really cool setup. And then they've got all sorts of stone under here. As well as it looks like they've got sand back this way, tubing, stuff you could definitely set up a fish room with. Fluorite, Fluval stratum, Eco Complete they've got, and then all different colors of gravel. A lot of the same distribution chain, it looks like, that Petco, PetSmart kind of have some of the supernaturals and stuff like that. Aquarium. Over here, Phoenix Tetris, $5.99. Malaysian Driftwood, another piece, $10. Or Kabamba and Hornwort, $2.99 for a cupful. You can see over here we got the Flame Tetras. So it's definitely an interesting thing that they've been able to keep open. Here we got the Diving Frogs and a Betta. It's interesting that they've been able to keep open a shop like this since 1974. Definitely the other animals I think would help. And cat and dog food. And this town is big on local stuff. We've got things on hold for people too. And also if they're on quarantine, guppies and things like that. So very neat. And then they've got an area for testing and all the work over here. So yeah, they've got everything set here. It looks like they've got the big line, everything's air filtration. And then down this aisle we've got all sorts of equipment. This is a nice one. This is a 33 long. I have been yearning for one of these for a long time. 33 long. The great one. This is nice too. They got the rhizome mats, all sorts of stiff tubing, and then for the reptiles or fish, they've got various plants if you want to do, like, you know, a turtle tank or something. They've got, I mean, they've got new products like the algae cleaning magnets and the blades and everything from phosphates. Doesn't look like they do much salt water, which is to be expected. But yeah, so that's basically the inside of the store here since 1974. It looks like someone moved their fish hobby into you know, a publicly accessible place. But we're going to speak with the owner a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So if you're still sticking around, please hit that like, subscribe. If you're ever in Walla Walla doing some wine tasting or exploring, it's big wine country now, be sure to check out this this place when you come through. Definitely cool. Got some bigger fish in here too that I missed, but very neat. And as I said, all the reptiles too. Alright guys, we'll talk to you soon. Alright, we are here at City Zoo Pets in Walla Walla, Washington, and we're here with David, the owner. You and your wife are?
Yep,
yeah,
and my wife Kelsey.
Awesome. And basically, I just we did a quick little look around, but we're here now to talk to you about, you know, what's the story of this place? What makes it special, you know?
So City Zoo is a staple of Walla Walla and one of the oldest pet stores in the state. I'm not sure nationally where we stand, but I'd have to check into that at some point.
Sure.
This store actually started back in 1974. Ron Matthews and Joanne Laufer started it, and for a long time was the only pet store in town.
Yeah.
They actually started off in the back of a general store here called the Country Store.
Okay.
And it was kind of just a little, literally in the back of the store, kind of started their own thing back there. And that was back in the 70s when you could have all kinds of crazy stuff without license.
Yeah, piranhas. And, yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he had piranhas, he had monkeys, he had pythons that were like 12 feet long, and all this kind of stuff. So
so it was a city zoo.
It exactly was, yep.
Yeah.
And they've moved a couple times. This building was built for, he had this building built in 1984.
Okay.
And it's been here ever since. Not a lot has changed, but me and my wife just purchased the business from him at the beginning of September, so we're just getting started and we have big plans.
That's awesome. So, I mean, one question, we kind of, on the video, we've already kind of run through the tanks and taken a look. So it looks like you guys buy from local breeders, which obviously sets you apart from any sort of big box store.
I love to support local breeders. You know, I don't know that we have anybody in town that's necessarily a professional or a big scale breeder, but we get a lot of people who raise some fish at home and, hey, you know, do you guys want to buy these? And absolutely, I love to get stuff locally.
Cool. Yeah. And so, you know, I try to remind people, you know, if just because they buy your fish, you know, that's why sometimes even if they don't have the best deal on, say, a heater, like, go to the local fish store, you know, support local because they support the hobby, right?
Exactly.
You know,
and we try to set all of our customers and our hobbyists up for success. I mean, I will give you advice that will take money out of my till
sure,
rather than sell you a product that you don't need or is not going to help you. So
that's really cool to hear. And I mean, that usually is the case, you know, because you're doing it because you love animals, you know.
Exactly.
So I have to ask, what are the water parameters like out of the tap here, like in town?
So it kind of varies on where you're at. We actually have a lot of different water sources here in Walla Walla. Walla Walla is actually, I believe the translation literally means many waters.
Yeah, okay.
So we have tons of different river systems, tons of different aquifers. So here in Walla Walla, the city draws water mostly from either Mill Creek or from an underground aquifer. And they kind of shift different times of the year, but in general, most of the time, our water comes out of the tap with a pH of about 7.2 to 7.6.
Okay, so a little bit of minerality to it, but nothing crazy.
But no, it you know, on the general hardness scale, it's moderate to low usually.
Okay.
Now that can vary a lot. You go a little bit out of Walla Walla, say over to the nearest city, which is College Place.
Sure.
We actually touch each other.
Yeah.
They draw from a different aquifer, and they get a couple different ones. Their water is usually a lot harder.
Okay.
pH around 7.8.
Oh wow.
But it depends. You know, it can change different times of the year depending on our rainfall and other things like that. But usually we're right around there.
Very cool. So I mean, that definitely lends itself to breeding anything from live bearers to cichlids, you know, just add a little bit to...
We have a lot of live bearer and cichlid people here. So,
very cool.
I would say, honestly, I've read some horror stories from other places in the U.S. where they have terrible water and they have to drive for miles to get water. And we were pretty blessed here to have good water.
That's cool. I mean, over in the Seattle area where I'm from, we have a TDS of 28. So, while that's very... and a pH of, say, 6.9 to 7, you know? If anything, slightly acidic, but that really, we just have to add things. Yeah. So it's not too big of a deal. I mean, you just have to add that minerality. Yeah. But when you have to take out a whole bunch, that's when it's, you know, or there's something odd in the water, obviously that can be interesting.
We have to adjust for a few things, but for the most part, many of our fish do, at least for this normal freshwater stuff. I mean, it does great here without much fuss.
Very cool.
Our TDS usually comes out around average of about 50.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so
okay,
not
bad at all.
It depends on the time of year. But,
yeah, sure. So then, I mean, I see modern fish like glowfish. I see, you know, oh, nice, all right. And then I see, you know, newer types of, say, bettas and, you know, just various fish that are newer to the hobby in general, parrots, cichlids, and things like that. And, I mean, what do you see going forward as being kind of some of the stuff you're excited to bring in or focus on, or do you think it'll kind of be the oldies but goodies? Like, where do you see that?
Well, we got to have our bread and butter, so you'll always see tetras, you'll always see live bears in here, you'll always see certain cichlids, but we want to get into some more exotic stuff, you know. Really, if anybody in this neck of the woods wants real exotic, they got to drive quite a ways.
Spokane or something.
At least, usually. There's a little bit in Tri-Cities. They get some pretty cool stuff over there sometimes, but we want to bring some of that in locally.
Very cool.
And we really want to expand on our selection of plants.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think planted tanks and kind of the nature aquarium, aquascaping, that kind of stuff. It definitely is something that traditionally the cities the last decade or 2 decades have done, but I see you guys have plants and you guys have crypts for 99 cents. I mean, that's a crazy good deal.
Oh, yeah, local source.
So that's great. I mean, it's cool to have a spot like that in town, and you've got plants, and it looks like most of your tanks you have some sort of plant.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a lot of false plants. Eventually, what we want to do is we want to set up some tanks that are specific to, you know, just carrying a wide selection of plants.
Sure.
It's a nicer light setup. But for the moment, we sell out of the tanks, and you know, the tanks that don't have live plants, we'll set up plastic plants so the fish feel at home.
Nice.
But again, many changes coming back here. This is, you know, this is as it was when we took over. So we're going to be doing a lot of updating in the years ahead, getting back into some salt water.
Very cool.
And big changes on the way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for speaking with us, and just to anyone watching, I hope you guys stop by here if you're in Walla Walla doing some wine tasting or driving through, or you live here and you just haven't for some bizarre reason, you know. So do you have anything else you'd like to add at the end there, or?
Oh yeah, I just want to, you know, thank all the locals for supporting us for so many years. We couldn't be here without you guys, and anybody that wants to come check us out, you know, come say hello, and if you need any help, you know, we'll be glad to set you up for success.
All right, well, that's very nice of you. Thank you for your time and for showing us around, you know?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.